Hey, what's up, guys? Chaplain Brooks here. Just taking a quick break from a very busy couple of days to reflect on a good word for you all. It's been very motivating for me to see everybody out here doing their thing, making do with what we got, choosing good attitudes when there's plenty of reasons to have a bad one. I want to talk about something that's been on my mind probably the last couple of weeks. Actually, is well beyond the last couple of weeks, maybe the last couple of years. Is as your chaplain, I try to hold myself to the highest standards possible, and that all, at least spiritually, started for me at a really young age. I remember sitting in elementary school. I went to this private Christian school, and people there meant well, and but I had this third grade teacher. He was probably my favorite teacher. His name was Mr. Daly, R.I.P. But we had a movie day or whatever, and they played this movie. A lot of folks from the Protestant world will know this title, Left Behind. But this one had Gary Busey in it, and I don't know if y'all know who Gary Busey is, but he just does not strike me as somebody who would play the kind of role that he played in this movie. It was kind of a panic, like end of the world kind of view of things. And I look back on it now and I can't help but laugh, just knowing who he is and the role that he played in this movie and the content of the movie. The gist of this movie is like the fallout after Christ returns, and he this event that a lot of folks talk about, called the rapture, where Christ returns, takes those who have kind of committed to the path of salvation and leaves everybody else, and the whole world just burns and crumbles out from underneath them. And man, I don't know about y'all, but I just don't see a whole lot of hope in a story that ends that way. And from the time I started watching that movie, something just did not feel right, and I can't describe it. It kind of transcends words whenever sometimes your conscience is violated like that. But I didn't know what right looked like. So I took some time, years, as I got older, middle school, high school, college, to really kind of put the words together and make sense of what's really going on there, what values that communicates. And I didn't experience a lot of hope, because it's my understanding everything that Christ ever talked about was in present tense. This idea of the rapture was developed in the 1830s by this man, John Nelson Darby. He was in the UK. He was a theologian there. He did contribute in like the academic side of theology in a big way, to talk about something called dispensations, which is like when God dispenses experiences out on people, or interacts in big ways with people. And whenever folks like John looked at this, they were looking at the scope of thousands of years. This is a very high level kind of pattern recognition. And it took off like a wildfire, this idea that John put out. But at the bottom of it all, there's different kinds of dispensation. At the bottom of it all is like, when does God interact with us? And by the word, it's all the time. behold, all things are being made new around us. There isn't a thing in there that I can see that very explicitly says that God's going to abandon people. That seems like, by choosing not to participate in what God's design is for me, that I'm handing God a loss. We can't do that. We can't make God lose, especially if if at the bottom of it all, God just wants us to live the way that we were designed to be, and live holy and at peace and in love. One of my spiritual mentors these days his name is Richard Rohr. He's a Catholic priest out of Arizona, and he's very quick to remind people that in the end all is well, and if all is not well, then it's not the end. And I can't imagine people being abandoned by God, because at the end of the day, I can't say that God is more committed to me than somebody else. I don't think God's love ever runs out. I don't think God's time for us ever runs out. Even when we leave this earth, I think God is still actively pursuing us. One of the things that we deny ourselves whenever we fall into these traps of thinking that like somebody's time is going to run out, is the fact that they don't get to participate in resurrection and salvation anymore. And that's not our call to make. That's not our call to make. So as this translates into high standards for our religious leaders, I recall in Matthew 23 when Christ is just laying into the Pharisees, and he said, you Pharisees, you hypocrites, you travel thousands of miles to convert one soul, and you make them twice the sons of hell that you are. He called the religious leaders of his day sons of hell because of how misleading they are to people around them. So choose your leaders very carefully. Make sure that they've taken the path of leadership very seriously. And it's always, if it's going to be handled correctly, it's always one of humility. It's always a letting go. You have to follow tradition as people's leaders. You have to follow a level of accountability that others have chosen for you to follow. Be sure that the voices that you listen to not only talk about the right things, but do what they talk about. That's also referenced in Matthew 23 when Christ is telling the crowd, hey, y'all can listen to these people. Their words are well, but don't do like they do. Be people of action here and now, not so future-minded that you give yourself excuses to give up on people or not try. It isn't just about saving yourself. It's about saving and helping the people around you. That's what this is about. It's about healing the world that's in front of you here and now. Because the number of days you have to impact the world in and around you is limited. But God's love is not. God's love is not. Y'all take care of yourselves. If you see me around, give me a holler. We'll talk to you in the next couple of days.